Today we are sitting in Dale and Angelica's home in North Carolina. We just wrapped up a full in-depth tour. Dale, thanks for sitting down with me. It was an honor to be here. It's a gorgeous home. Great working with both you and Angelica. And we'd love to get some insight from you as to how the process went, what the experience was like building this home. It wasn't your first home that you guys have built.
That's correct. Yeah, this is the third home that we built. And the process, working with Golden Eagle, I don't think it could have been much better. We were really happy that we chose Golden Eagle to provide not only the materials package, but the plans and help us do selections for a lot of the fixtures and so on in the house. I'd say it started with going through your website online and really just having a wealth of information there that we could go through. Allowed us to sort of educate ourselves about the type of construction that you offer and the type of materials, but also there were just an almost unlimited number of plans. So we were able to look through things and find something that really suited us. And I think that was really important. And then I remember the first call that we made into Golden Eagle, we spoke with a sales consultant named Jan Halber. And Jan just couldn't have been any more friendly or more helpful. I'm sure you know Jan very well, but he's just a great guy. So Jan was there with us every step of the way, kind of walking us through the process, helping set proper expectations, which is also a really good thing. I would say the communication that we got from Golden Eagle was really good. We followed that up with a meeting, I think it was in July of 2020, coming on site in Wisconsin and going through the selections process with yourself and Dela, and that was great. I didn't expect that there'd be so many options and that the options would all be of a very high-end nature, I just felt like everything we looked at was good quality. And the walking through your factory, seeing how you process timbers and things like that, it really gave us a lot of confidence that we were making a good decision. And so I think we spent 8 or 9 hours with you that day. And not only got to know you and Dela really well, but by the time we left, we just knew we'd made the right decision.
And it's so great to then be here years later and to see it all come together. You were telling me that your home is ultra energy efficient, which is pretty phenomenal. You really went full out when it comes to the building sciences. Would you speak to that a bit?
Sure. So the construction it's a stick-built home, utilizing mostly 2x6 and 2x8 framing. The sheathing, we decided to go with the Zip R sheathing from Huber, and we used the R3. And the reason we did that was just to create a thermal break between the framing and the exterior of the house. A lot of energy loss is through the actual framing itself. So it acts as a bridge to bring heat into the house during the summer and take heat out of the house during the winter. So we thought having that thermal break would be really advantageous. And we went with sort of the full zip plan, which is you're sealing the house all the way over. So there's no vented attic space. There's no vented soffits. It's a completely sealed home. And on top of the zip sheathing, there's then a rain screen applied, and the siding, which you guys provided, a very thick, very substantial wood plank siding for the side of this house. And so I believe that our walls are around R25 altogether. We used 1.5 inches of closed cell spray foam and then 3.5 inches of open cell spray foam on top of that. So when the house was all done and we had a blower door test run, the blower door test came in at 0.81 air changes per hour under the required pressure. and that's getting into what you call passive house standards. So as a result, our house is slightly over 3,500 square feet, and our electric bills are well under $200 a month. And we also have 3 electric vehicles that we charge here at home. So electricity is very low usage in the house.
And you're not in a mild climate. I mean, how high are we in altitude? And
we're at 4,000 feet, roughly.
4,000 feet.
Yep.
You were telling me that you've seen snow nearly every month of the year.
Here in our area, we get snow pretty much in any month other than August. And we've had snow into May, just in the couple of years we've been up here now.
And you had mentioned that 50-mile-per-hour winds would not be uncommon?
Not at all. We're situated sort of at the top of a ridge where there's significant wind that comes right through here. And if someone sees the tour, they'll see that the walls are very thick in this house. And we have some really good quality windows that are made by Pella, recommended and supplied by Golden Eagle. The house is very quiet. So you don't live through the storm. Half the time you don't even know a storm's happening out there.
Wow.
It's so quiet.
And of course, nationally known, you guys just went through a terrible hurricane. So it's just devastating what happened. And how were you affected by that?
Our house wasn't affected at all. In fact, the engineering that was supplied by Golden Eagle, I think the house was rated for 150 mile an hour winds based on the engineering that was done on our very tall walls that we have in the house. So during the hurricane itself, we experienced nothing but, I think, power went out for about 30 hours here. So there were various houses in our area that were taken away by floods, damaged by high winds, things like that. But this house really stood up very, very well. We didn't lose a shingle.
You did a lot of great planning around your property as well to mitigate water away from the property. Can you tell me about that?
So water was an issue on this piece of property. We have 2 springs in front of the house that are in the hillside. So there was a lot of engineering done prior to construction where we had folks in grading and putting in drainage, and there's a retaining wall across the driveway, and everything drains behind that, then goes down under the driveway through various drain tiles and so on, and all out and down the hill way below the house. So we had somewhere between 20 and 30 inches of rain during Hurricane Helene, and everything was bone dry. In fact, our yard was dry like the very next day because all the water was just being channeled away. So the engineering portion of it was really important. And that's our first time actually testing it. So we're kind of happy that it held up well.
Now, where I'm from, we don't have mountains like this. And you were actively on the job site while you perhaps were not pounding hammers. You were here very regularly during the build of the home. What's it like seeing the mountain taken away? Like you're preparing the land, flattening it for the house location. Would you walk us through that? And
sure. Yeah. Everything here is a little more difficult because of the slopes that you're building on and so on. So the mountains that we're in are pretty much hard rock, very, very old mountains. So a lot of rock hammering that takes place prior to construction even beginning. You just kind of get the site prepared, and then the house itself, the foundation, it uses an ICF construction, insulated concrete form construction, where the blocks are stacked and sort of built, and then a monolithic pour is done inside the blocking. To make that work here, basically, we had to drill into the rock and we've got about 600 pieces of rebar that are epoxied into the mountain.
Wow.
And then they come up into the footers for the house, and then they're poured into the footers. So we are literally part of the mountain here. So if the mountain goes, we go. Otherwise, we're going to be here for a while.
Yeah.
So, and then getting everything leveled, getting the driveway cut in, a retaining wall built, drainage. This took several months. So if someone is building in the mountains in a more difficult environment like that, that would be a cost and I think a time consideration that they'd want to take into account.
And what drew you to this location? I mean, you have an incredible view. Was that all?
No, we've been coming up to the mountains for 20 years. I've, for many years, did motorcycle trips up and down the Blue Ridge Parkway with friends. And this was just the area that I guess really spoke to me. And then Angelica started coming up here with me, and she rides motorcycles as well. So we started doing some trips together. And of all the places we visited, we really liked this place. And it is a great place to live.
Yeah. It's just absolutely gorgeous around here. We love visiting. And unfortunately, we missed out on that fall foliage. You were saying that's a huge attraction for a lot of people, is the leaf season.
Yeah, we have about 4 times the normal population up here during leaf season, from people that come from all over the U.S. and Canada to see the colors change up here in the Appalachians. So, or I should say Appalachians. Everybody tells me you're not from here, apparently, because I say the word Appalachian, and it's Appalachian. But yeah, the colors are really amazing. The mountains here are a little softer than the Rockies, because they're older. They're eroded a little bit more, so they're more accessible for people, I think. It's not quite as rugged, and there's hundreds of miles of hiking around here. Beautiful mountain lakes, incredible views around every corner. And of course, if you've ever been in our area, Grandfather Mountain is kind of like a big highlight here. So a lot of great things to see and do. It's a good place to live.
Well, let's finish this out by asking you, what are some of the surprises that you've had? Probably good surprises, but things that you didn't quite expect when building this home that you've really come to appreciate?
I think good surprises was the quality of the materials when they arrived. It was above my expectation. Having built other homes, I know kind of what building materials normally look like. I've had many builders and tradesmen, people that have been in the home, who have just been really impressed by the size and the quality of the timbers that are being used. It's a very beefy construction, and so it makes a statement. And I think the statement just is that this is something that's built to last. And so the quality, the engineering, our plans were looked at by many eyes, including planning and permitting for our county, different subs that worked on the job, the contractor that we hired. Everybody said it was one of the most detailed set of plans that they'd ever worked with. And so that was a very pleasant surprise. When we sat down with Golden Eagle and began to envision what this house would look like, because we went through that selections process, I had in my mind a clear picture of this is what the house is going to look like when it's done. And that is exactly how it turned out. So I don't think we could have gotten that with a different company. It's just by the time we finished, I knew the house was going to be exactly what I wanted. And that's how it turned out.
Wow. And I heard you say that if you were to build again, you'd come back to Golden Eagle?
I would. I'd be very happy to come back to Golden Eagle. I felt like the best decision we made in this whole process was working with your company.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dale.
Well, thank you.
Really appreciate it.
We were very excited to do it, and we're very happy with the finished product.
Well, thank you. For all of you who have joined into this great conversation with Dale, please check out the YouTube tour of this incredible mountain home. I know you'll love it.